All right, so pharmacy services. Now, last time when we looked at Walgreens, we saw that Walgreens works in both retail and wholesale sector. Okay, they do both, and we discussed that majority of companies now, they can expand not by building new stores, but by actually buying existing pharmacies. Because you probably know that there is a law in Australia, and you can have certain amount of pharmacies in the area. You cannot have more than that. So even if you have resources and have a desire to build it, you won't get a permission to open another pharmacy. So a similar situation in a lot of countries, and I presume in the United States as well. So that's why in order to compete, in order to expand in new area, you have to buy existing pharmacies there. It's kind of bad thing from one point, but from another point, it limits the amount of competitors which you can have. All right. So for example, if you already open a pharmacy in your region and you have 3 competitors, it's unlikely that somebody is going to move there and you will have 4th competitor. Okay, because there is a restriction in this area. So it's kind of from one place when you expanding is bad. From another point, it's good when you're already represented on the market, that it doesn't allow another competitors to move in. Now, this type of industry is limited in development and growth to different countries, and there are a few issues in that. First of all, like legislation, okay, and also it's probably if you're a big company and you supply drugs and you can sell them in United States. If you open it in Mexico, it doesn't mean that you can sell same drugs. It doesn't mean that you can use same negotiation power and buy cheaper drugs, because you might be dealing with completely different drugs in different country, because maybe those drugs which you are selling in United States, they are not allowed, they don't have a right to be sold in Mexico, because they have to go through certain procedures. So you kind of have to start building this business from the scratch, okay, and develop your connections with new manufacturers and new services, and etc., etc., etc. So this type of things. And another thing that also in different countries, at least I know it's in Russia, there is a certain regulation regarding margin for pharmaceutical companies. And like I remember in 90s, it was 50%. It's quite low. So it means that if the factory sold drug for $100, the client has to get it for $150. So the maximum price increase from the manufacturer to the end customer has to be 50%, not more than that. And imagine for now it's quite tough to do that. When you look at the prices of we looked at what a company yield, for example, when they sell lead drugs and they have margin of 90%, it means that the production cost is $10 and they're selling for $100. So it's 10 times more. So it's kind of very different in the United States compared with Russia in 1990s. Maybe now something changed about that. Okay, another kind of thing which is good for pharmaceutical companies like pharmacies, loyalty of clients. And you know, probably if you use the pharmacy, you probably go to the same pharmacist because he knows you and or she knows you, and probably sometimes they can take care as a doctor, you know, so they might tell you, oh, you need to do this or that, because they can do that. They can give you this in advice and they can recommend certain medicine for you. So if you don't want to go to the doctor, your pharmacist might help you. But in this case, they have to know you. So that's why a lot of clients, they go to the same pharmacist. Now, if you own the pharmacy, it's pretty good because it means that you have stable income from the same type of clients. So it's loyalty. Another thing also which is quite important to understand for us, the duration of life increases, okay, and a lot of people, they live longer and longer and longer, and because they live longer, it doesn't mean that they're healthier. A lot of people are still quite sick, and the elder they get, the more they require medical support. So that's why pharmacists, they get more and more clients. And also, like in general health, I don't believe that is getting better for people. Like a lot of people still drink, smoke, don't do any exercise, and etc., etc. Okay, so that's why this type of business, I believe, always will have their customers. Okay, same as food stores. We always sit and we always sick. Okay, that's kind of stuff. Now, you probably noticed that now a lot of pharmaceutical services, they incur a lot of competition from just retailers like food, like Woolworths, Coles. If you go there, you can buy probably Panadol, bandages, and some medical stuff, which like can be sold over the counter. You can find it now in just general retail stores, and they're taking competition from pharmacy services industry as well. Okay, this is kind of general about this type of industry.